Welcome to the Just Go Explore podcast. On this episode, we're going to be taking a deep dive into everything you need to know before visiting Badlands National Park. If you missed last episode, we covered some other information about South Dakota, so definitely go check that out if you're planning to do a South Dakota road trip. Hi there, we're Kelly and Carl from Kelly and Carl's Adventures, and we're on a mission to visit all 63 U.S. national parks. As of the release of this episode, we have visited 46.
Woohoo!
So, Kelly, let's go ahead and dive in.
Yeah. So, Badlands National Park is known for its layered rock formations. The park offers a unique combination of rugged scenery and abundant wildlife. I think we were both surprised by how much wildlife we ended up seeing in Badlands.
There's a lot more than I was expecting.
Yeah, I was expecting it just to be like the Badlands landscapes, but there was actually a lot of wildlife too. So some fun facts about Badlands. The park protects over 244,000 acres of rugged landscapes and mixed grass prairie in South Dakota. And so it actually protects one of the largest remaining mixed grass prairies in the United States, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's known for its unique otherworldly badlands, and then the stripes in the badlands kind of come from different minerals, so that's how they get different colors. And then the badlands contains one of the world's richest fossil beds with remains of ancient rhinos, horses, saber-toothed predators like saber-toothed tigers, and more, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So they found like all sorts of really crazy fossils from ancient animals that used to roam that Badlands landscape. I don't know what the landscape looked like back then, but there are at least remnants of animals that used to be there that are no longer on Earth. So pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So continuing on the trend of animals in the park, some animals that are still in the park include one of the fastest land animals in North America, which is the pronghorn. It can run up to 60 miles per hour, which is crazy.
Very, very fast.
So they're at times speeding in the national park.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. I think the park road is like 45 miles an hour or something.
I think it's the fastest, yeah.
They're very fast. I did look up just because I was curious. Usain Bolt is, known as the fastest person on Earth, and his like sprint is up to 27 miles per hour.
Yeah.
So over twice as fast as Usain Bolt. Our pronghorns. Pretty cool.
Yeah. And then also in the park are black-footed ferrets, which is one of the rarest mammals in North America, not in North Carolina, in South Dakota. And they were reintroduced into the park. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. They're very rare to see. Like, you don't actually really observe them as visitors too much because they are very rare, but it is cool that one of the rarest like land animals in North America can be found there, and it was reintroduced there.
Yeah. Also reintroduced into the park was the American bison, and they were reintroduced in 1963 after disappearing from the region for about a decade.
That's crazy. Yeah. We saw multiple bison in the park, so that was really cool.
Yeah. And then probably the animal that is most abundant in the park are the prairie dogs.
Yep.
And it's wild because you wouldn't like really think of it, but it does kind of make sense when you see them. The prairie dog towns can stretch for miles and house thousands of prairie dogs in them.
That it's crazy to think, but like all those little underground tunnels connect to each other, and they just have their little communities, and there's just thousands of prairie dogs just hanging out with their friends all the time. Like, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. And then also you can find bighorn sheep and rattlesnakes in the park, and we did see both of those.
Yes, we did.
Rattlesnake we saw was kind of next to a little bridge, so we weren't like really threatened by it, and it was just kind of curled up.
Yeah, fortunately
shade.
it wasn't like it was, we were looking down on it we were on a bridge looking down on it, and it was just hanging out in the shade. So it wasn't like,
Didn't
threatening.
feel threatened.
Yeah.
Just kind of chilling, which was pretty cool to be able to just like comfortably be able to see a rattlesnake.
Yeah, and then the bighorn sheep was cool too. We saw that. We'll talk a little bit about a road that we saw that on in a little bit, but like definitely explore around golden hour if you want to see more wildlife.
Yep. So speaking of exploring, do you want to go over some scenic drives?
I would love to. So in Badlands National Park, the main drive that kind of takes you through most of the park is the Badlands Loop Scenic Byway. So this kind of byway is the main road, and it is about 31 miles long. Mm-hmm. And it takes about 1 to 2 hours if you were to drive the whole road without taking any stops. So just think about like if you wanted to just drive the road and not make any stops whatsoever, it would take a few hours to do so. That being said, you absolutely should make stops. Yeah. You should not just drive through this park, but there's plenty of stops along the way. The road is a paved 2-way road, plenty of pullouts, plenty of overlooks, and plenty of hikes along the way that are all pretty short and sweet. So definitely worth taking like a whole day to basically drive along the road and stop where you want to. And then the road, so that road connects the northeast entrance to the other entrance, the interior entrance. So it connects like basically from Wall, South Dakota to the northeast entrance. So yeah. Yep. Any other fun scenic roads?
Another road that we enjoyed was Sage Creek Rim Road. It's a 28-mile unpaved gravel road, which runs through the remote northwest section of Badlands National Park. And unlike Badlands Loop Scenic Byway, this route offers a much more peaceful experience where you can experience more wildlife, sweeping prairie views, and you're just away from the general visitors of the park.
Yeah, we felt like we were basically alone when we were driving that part of the road.
Yeah. As I mentioned, it is a gravel road, but it is accessible generally by most passenger cars, especially as you are closer toward the northeast entrance. As you get further out, it does become more recommended to have a 4-wheel drive high clearance vehicle, just because you don't know what road conditions will get like, because it is a little more remote.
Yeah, we just explored the first few miles of the road.
Yeah, and that was perfect.
And that was, it
just
was
a normal
great.
gravel,
like any car could have driven
road.
that part of the road. But once you get further out, it is recommended, to have more of a 4-wheel drive vehicle.
And we drove this around golden hour and into sunset. And we saw bison and pronghorn and bighorn sheep all along this road.
Yep, exactly. So that's where we saw pretty much a lot of the wildlife that we saw.
Yeah, we did see prairie dogs as well.
Because there's a prairie dog town there. Yeah. There's, so pretty much all the wildlife that we were talking about before we saw in this section of the park. So this Sage Creek Rim Road will give you really good shots of seeing wildlife, especially if you visit during the better, wildlife viewing times. So that would be either early morning or late evening.
Yep. And then we ended up camping out, well, not camping, but like hanging out at the Hayview Overlook and Badlands Wilderness Overlook around the sunset time period. And
it was beautiful.
Like nobody there.
Yeah, there was nobody there. The like golden light hitting the Badlands was super beautiful, and it was just super peaceful. So highly
definitely recommend doing that drive around the golden hour time frame.
Yeah. So like when we went, we did the whole Badlands Loop scenic byway, like in the morning into the afternoon. And then we ate dinner, and then we came back into the park and we did the Sage Creek Rim Road around like that golden hour sunset time. And it was the perfect day.
Yep. Do you have a favorite hike?
Oh, there's so many hikes. So fortunately, in Badlands National Park, a lot of the hikes are pretty short, so you can accomplish a multitude of different hikes in one day. Some of our favorites included the Door Trail. So this was probably our favorite one, at least my favorite, and it was like an easy walk along. So it started off as like a boardwalk, and then it turned into like walking along the Badlands with the different, with the landscapes out there. And there was really a lot of photo opportunities. It was pretty popular, so there were plenty of other people, but it still felt like there's plenty of room to like explore your own little spaces in the Badlands landscape, which was really pretty. Another popular trail is the Notch Trail. So that trail involves climbing a steep ladder in order to kind of continue along the trail. And just be aware that when we went like middle of the day, which wasn't great on our part, but that's just where we happened to be. It's just happened, it can't always be everywhere at the right times. But there was like lines waiting to get either up or down the ladder. And since it's like one ladder, one way, it was just backing up because there were people trying to go up and people trying to go down. And it was kind of chaos.
The other problem is, there is kind of, I think there was another way around it, but it was a little more sketch.
Yeah.
But the problem is nobody is kind enough to allow anybody else to go up or down. So you should alternate. Someone goes down and then someone comes up. Mm-hmm. But it was like once one person started going down,
the whole group
everybody
went
just
down.
wanted to go down, which backs up everybody trying to come up, and then vice versa would happen.
Yeah.
One person would start coming up, and then everybody started coming up. So you get this crazy line on both ends.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you would just alternate, like come up, come down, then it would keep moving on both ends. You would still have a bottleneck because
because it's just
the way it's
how
designed.
It's a popular trail with like one way to get up and one way to get down. But there definitely have to be better ways to do it. Yeah. I know that when we went, we were hanging out the bottom for like minutes at a time. Literally, do you remember just like waiting? Because people just kept coming down and they didn't care.
Yeah, they wouldn't just stop and
they wouldn't just let us go up there. They just kept going and going and going, and then we're like, okay, well, I don't. What can we do? So
and then when we were coming down, like it was the same thing. People just didn't want to let anybody.
Alternate. I mean, I get it, but just be kind. And expect for just for crowds and stuff. A third trail that we would also recommend is Saddle Pass Trail. So this was like a short but steep kind of connector trail, and that offered really pretty canyon views. Like you could see views of like the road and the canyon and like the landscapes there. It was just really pretty. Give you a different vantage point kind of from above looking down, which was nice. And then other popular hikes, in the park would also include Window Trail, Cliff Shelf Nature Trail, and Castle Trail. So there are plenty of hiking options. We kind of mentioned our three favorites, but there's a lot to explore. So, and you can easily combine, like we did 5 hikes in a day. You can easily combine a lot of these hikes because they're pretty short. Some require a little bit of steeper elevation, but honestly, it's very short and exactly. Mostly flat for all of the hikes. So not bad.
Yep. And then, so some other things to consider about the park is like where to stay. Mm-hmm. And there are really only 2 options. There is a third, but if you want to stay in the park, you only have Cedar Pass Lodge. That's the only one inside of Badlands National Park. And then outside of the park, you can stay in Wall, South Dakota, and there are many lodging options there. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of the hub for Badlands National Park and surrounding area. It's where you find a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And then if you're fine with driving about an hour, you can go all the way out to Rapid City. And that's just, it's a bit further away, but it is another option.
Yeah. And that's where, if you're staying near Rapid City, in order to get to like Wind Cave and Mount Rushmore and, some of those, like Custer State Park, some of those parks over there, and you want to just take a day trip into Badlands, that's totally doable.
Yep.
Just make sure you leave early and, do as much as you can in a day. So other things to consider. So for dining, there's only one in-park restaurant, and that's the Cedar Pass restaurant. More broadly available dining options are in Wall, South Dakota, and that would include the famous Wall Drug Store.
Yeah, crazy.
So if you drive anywhere in South Dakota, pretty much, you will find road signs for Wall Drug. And you'll be like, what is this? Why are there literally hundreds of signs on the side of the road talking about Wall Drug? Well, we went, so we found out. But basically, it's a quirky, family-friendly attraction that began as a small-town pharmacy and has grown into a sprawling 76,000 square foot hub of dining, shopping, and entertaining. We found some of the food options to be a little overpriced and generally subpar.
Yes.
But it is an iconic stop. I don't know. I think
it felt like a tourist trap.
It definitely is like a tourist trap, but it's kind of a fun tourist trap.
Yeah, it's like Western vibes and
It's I don't know. It was worth going to, but it was like
it was really your only option.
There were other dining options in the area, but like when you see all the signs for it, you feel like you have to go.
Yeah.
So it was interesting. Definitely a quirky place. So definitely an interesting one.
Yeah.
So moving on, Carl, do you know when is the best time you would recommend going to Badlands National Park?
Well, it really depends on what you're wanting to experience. So you want to be able to access the entire park and all the facilities, then the summer. Mm-hmm. But temperatures in the summer can get quite warm, in the 90s or above. So if you want to avoid the heat, but still have access to a lot of the other stuff, then probably spring, early fall. Late spring, early fall, you're getting milder temperatures, less crowds, but still have access to everything. Mm-hmm. In the summer, a lot of the trailheads can become challenging to find parking, especially in the middle of the day. So
yeah, we did find that.
If you have the ability to travel early spring, late fall, then that would be like the ideal time to go.
Yeah.
But obviously, like if you have kiddos or grandkids or, your job schedule or whatever, just more flexibility for the summer, then that is like when you have to go.
Yeah.
If you want to access everything.
Yeah.
You can still access the park in the winter, but some roads and hikes and services may be closed due to snow.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't recommend the wintertime. And then, like you said, spring and fall are good options. Summer's like the busiest time, so you just have to deal with crowds and then deal with the heat. So, and it's doable. Like we visited in July and we had a good time. Yeah. It was definitely really hot, like in the middle of the day. And like all the hikes.
In the morning, it was perfect.
No, yeah. In the morning, in the evening were perfect. It's just that middle of the day hiking. Like we did a lot of our hikes in the middle of the day, and all the hikes there have full sun exposure. So you don't have any shade whatsoever. So it's just, it can get pretty hot.
Yeah. You definitely want to make sure you have lots of like fluids with you to be able to stay hydrated and different things if you're in the summer.
Yeah. And that kind of goes into my next thing. So I want to talk a little bit more about tips for visiting. So make sure you plan your route ahead of time. So, it is like the main park road, like you'll want to plan the overlooks that you want to stop at along the way so that you aren't having to backtrack. So you don't want to go to like one end of the park and then realize that, oh, we forgot to stop at the other end of the park and we have to drive like back and forth a bunch of different times. You want to make sure you can hit everything like in one loop. So make sure you plan your route accordingly. Obviously, we've kind of already touched on this, but sunrise, sunset, golden hour provide the most dramatic lighting for photos. It's the best time for wildlife, and it's just like the most beautiful time to be in that park. Please don't miss
you definitely
those
want to
times
be there
of
during
days.
those time.
Just it's so worth it. So worth it. When we visited, unfortunately, sunrise for us was a flop.
Yep.
It was just purely cloudy and there was no sunrise, but sunset made up for it, and it was just really beautiful. And like the landscape just comes alive when the golden light, like it makes it 1,000 times more beautiful to see it in golden light than it is just like in the middle of the day when it's just harsh and the contrast isn't there like it is at golden hour. So definitely keep that in mind. Other things, bring sun protection. We talked about there not being much shade, if any. So you're definitely going to want to bring, sunscreen, hats, sunglasses, things like that. And then trying to hike earlier in the day if you can to, decrease hiking in the middle of the day, essentially. Make sure to give bison their space and don't approach them or feed them. Always to keep that in mind. We did encounter rattlesnake, like we mentioned, but it was at a safe distance. Rattlesnakes here do tend to seek out spots where they're more well hidden. So they're oftentimes in like prairie grasses and shaded badlands and things like that. So you won't necessarily find them everywhere, but you will see signs, along the park where they're more frequently found. So just look at the park signs and pay attention. Pay attention to those areas. So I know a few of the hikes we went on, there was like a sign that said like, watch out for rattlesnakes, basically. So just be aware. You don't want to run, you don't want to accidentally run across one. And then there's limited services inside the park, so make sure you're set on gas and bring your own snacks and water before entering the park. While South Dakota is your best spot for getting like gas and all of those kind of amenity things if you need.
And so the visitor center did have water fill up spots, and there was, I believe it had a bike area to be able to like fix a bike tire or something like that. Like
I don't remember that part.
Air pump station, different things. That was kind of right by where the water fill up was.
Okay. Yeah, I did not remember that, but yeah.
Yeah, I just remember, and I think that's also where like the service area was for like, or parking for campers and stuff was over on that side.
There are lots of bikers, so just be aware when driving around the park that people do bike the park and stuff. It's beautiful. Like I can definitely see why you'd want to bike there, but just be aware. And then there's minimal cell reception throughout the park, so make sure to download trail maps, regular maps, all of that stuff ahead of time if you can.
Yep. And then one other thing to keep in mind is no matter the footwear you have on, if there has been any form of rain, the surface, the clay dirt surface, I don't know what you want to call it, like it gets very slick. And your shoes just kind of gum up with whatever it is. And then you have no traction.
Yeah,
so.
It's pretty crazy. Because we started our day, like I said, it was cloudy when we first started our day because I guess it had rained or something.
Yeah.
So like our first few stops of the day, I like tried to walk along like one of the Badlands like overlooks, and like I had, over an inch of mud just caked on the bottom of my shoes, and I was like sliding. I almost fell on my butt. Like,
yeah.
It was bad.
Yep. So that is just something to be aware of.
Yeah.
Especially like if you're trying to go like on any of the hikes, just because some of the hikes you do have some elevation and it does require climbing on this surface. It's not like it's all stairs or like
it's literally like a clay.
It's a clay that just kind of gums up everything and just becomes super slick. So just be aware of that. But
yeah, I wouldn't wear your nicest shoes.
Not if it's rained. I mean, if it's dry, middle of the day, like you're fine.
Yeah, for us, it once the sun came out, it dried out really quick.
Yeah, you didn't have to worry about traction or anything.
Those first stops were interesting.
Yeah.
Good point. Good point. All right. So then we get into our commentary a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you feel like Badlands is overrated, underrated, or justified?
Might be a little underrated. I don't know though. Might be justified. I just felt like it was underrated in the sense of like the amount of wildlife you would see. Like, I think that was surprising.
Yeah.
But I think in general, like, you know what the landscape's going to look like.
But it was really cool.
It was pretty. Like, I'm not saying it's overrated. I'm just saying I think it was like, it sits on that border of justified, underrated.
For you.
For me. Just because of like, it's not more than what you expect in the sense of the landscape.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like Sequoia where you go and it's like, oh, you hear the trees being so big and it's like they're huge. It's like mind blowing, or like other parks where it's like,
yeah. I mean,
that.
I can see like, your point. However,
it was very pretty.
I do think it's underrated in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I think that a combination of like seeing the landscapes there at golden hour plus like the wildlife will like in my mind like made it an underrated park for me. So I feel like a lot of people don't really know about it. They don't really know much about it. And I think that it's worth
it's definitely worth going.
I think that
I think it gets overshadowed being in the region that it's in by Grand Tetons and Yellowstone.
Yeah. And it has some of the same wildlife and stuff. Yeah. But, it's just very unique.
I think, it's somewhere you should go.
Yeah. And I get that it might not be like as awe-inspiring in terms of like landscapes as some of those parks you just mentioned. However, I do think that it's still like very unique, very otherworldly, very different.
Yeah.
I really appreciated that.
Yeah.
How does Badlands compare to other national parks?
I think we just kind of went over that.
We did kind of go over it. I did want to say, like, I think Badlands is better than like Wind Cave.
Yeah, no, yeah. From
in terms of like an above ground comparison of Wind Cave versus Badlands, Badlands absolutely is like knocks it out of the park there. I think that Theodore Roosevelt is pretty similar to Badlands in that they both have that rugged, like otherworldly landscapes, but Badlands doesn't have the greenery as much, at least in the Badlands, as Theodore Roosevelt did.
Yeah.
They both had similar wildlife too. So I don't know. It's hard to compare those two, but I think
I enjoyed both.
Theodore Roosevelt might win out of Badlands versus Theodore Roosevelt.
I don't know. I'm back and forth.
I know. They're both great though.
I like the landscape, like the Badlands landscape of Badlands better than
Theodore Roosevelt.
But the landscape of Theodore Roosevelt
had more
your grassland.
Yeah, prairies. Dramatic. But it was more dramatic with the grassland and stuff.
Yeah, because it was like a little more rolling hill. Whereas I felt like Badlands, where it was grasslands, was very flat.
Yeah.
And then you had the Badlands.
Exactly. So it was either dramatic. Like flat grassland or dramatic Badlands with no greenery.
Correct.
Or it wasn't combined. Yeah. Whereas in Theodore Roosevelt, it's like combined.
You had some trees, you had some rolling hills,
so it's just an interesting comparison.
Yeah.
Hard to tell. But obviously, the Wyoming ones are gonna beat out the South Dakota ones. Yeah. It is what it is. Yeah. But it is still very beautiful. Yeah. Would you go back to Badlands National Park?
Yes.
I wasn't sure what you'd say to that question, actually. That kind of surprises me.
I think it would be fun to go back. It was a cool place to photograph.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely a photographer's ideal setting for a photographer.
I think it would be cool to go back in either late spring, early fall when it's not as crowded, or even tail end of summer. Yeah. And be able to bike a little more within the park.
Yeah.
Just to take it at a different pace. I love biking. So that is something that
Yeah.
piques my interest.
That's
and it's
true.
not like a park where it's like lots of big hills or mountains like that you're having. Like it's pretty.
Yeah. Yeah. I will say for me, which is funny because this is usually not the case. I don't necessarily see like a need to go back. Like we did all the hikes that we wanted to do. We saw the Badlands at golden hour. We saw a lot of wildlife. I feel like we accomplished everything that I wanted to accomplish in one visit to the park. So I don't feel a need to go back, but I also wouldn't like
back,
be
though?
against it either.
Yeah, but would you say instead of doing that, like if we stayed in the park, being able to access some of the hikes we did in the middle of the day at golden hour
would be definitely worth it for sure. Yeah. So like there are things that we could prioritize at different times of the day to capture with better lighting, and like, yes, I would go back. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, like, you know, technically we kind of accomplished everything.
We've checked the box. We got everything we needed.
It's one of the few national parks that I feel like I planned for that we actually did everything that I had previously planned.
Sunrise.
Minus sunrise, but we still went to that overlook, but it was just sunrise didn't work out.
Yeah.
We still slid around that overlook.
Yep. Yep.
Yep. But yeah, I don't know. So yes, would go back. Don't necessarily have a need to, but I would go back.
Okay. Well, I think that's all we have on Badlands to talk about. But if you are looking to plan a road trip to Badlands or to any of the other national parks in South Dakota, North Dakota, Wyoming, Montana, definitely check out our Great American West Road Trip Guide. It has everything you need to know, plus a couple other spots, including Mount Rushmore, Custer State Park, and a few other spots, along with multiple itineraries, a custom Google map that you're able to interact with.
Yeah, if you found value in like this podcast, you'd find even more value in the guide.
Yep. So that is linked below. And then no matter where you're either watching, listening, if you can, you know, give us a nice review, whether that be a like or a 5-star rating, or just a follow or subscribe if you've enjoyed what we have to provide through the podcast episode, or if you've been listening for a while, if you found value over a couple episodes, that would be greatly appreciated, as it just helps get the podcast out to more people who are interested. Makes it easier to find. And then if you're looking for other ways to follow us or to interact or just to reach out to us, definitely check out our Instagram or Facebook at Kelly and Carl's Adventures. And then, if you have questions, reach out to us there and we will get back to you.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah. Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Do you know what we're going to cover next?
I do. Do you know what we're going to cover next?
Probably Theodore Roosevelt?
Yes, correct. Yeah. So our next episode will be about Theodore Roosevelt National Park. So we kind of already slightly talked about that a little bit at the end of today's episode. So we'll go into a deeper dive about Theodore Roosevelt National Park next episode.
Yep. So we will catch you in the next one.
Yep.